This is the Elektron digitakt, and we all know it's great for house and techno, but will it boom bap? What is up, greedy guts? It's your boy Big Umami, and today we're back with yet another installment of Will It, a series in which I pick one particular groovebox to find out how good it is for producing one particular genre of music. And allow me to repeat that because people seem to not understand the whole concept of this series fully. Every time I post one of these videos, there's always seemed to be at least one smartass saying,
"Oh, you can do everything with everything."
Yeah, of course. No shit, Sherlock. People used to make entire soundtracks on a f***ing Game Boy back in the 80s. Yeah, the point of these videos is not to find out whether you can actually make a certain genre with a certain groovebox. The point of it is to understand how easy it is and how good a particular groovebox is for making just one particular genre. That way, if you know that you primarily work with just one genre, you know whether to spend some money on a particular machine or not. That's it. And so I decided to address this particular issue in this video because when I put it in my to-do list, the version 1.5 update wasn't out yet. Why is that relevant? Well, because for years the knock on the digitakt was that it had no time stretch and no slicing, chopping samples features. So that left hip-hop producers working on this machine finding very laborious workarounds, which is not really necessary now. And so that should make this video kind of superfluous, right? Well, not so fast. Let me show you. Let's start with the main sample. It's worth mentioning that I've already done some pre-processing on it, meaning that I've already cut it to a perfect loop. I'm gonna use the slice machine to chop it up. And look at that, straight away, the sample is cut perfectly. I'm gonna play with the pitch. -4 sounds right. I'll press the filter button twice to get to the sample reduction page. I'm gonna get that sweet old school boom bap sound. Moving on to the drums. Let's load up one of my favorite breaks and let's use the slice machine again. There seems to be a gap every time I press a note. The slicing algorithm doesn't seem to be working all that well here, and there's no way to edit the slices at all, it seems like. So I had to get back to my computer, quantize this and transfer it back into the digitakt. Not fun. But hey, it seems to be working now. Let's also apply some sample reduction here. I can get enough of that, it's perfect for this genre. We're gonna start building this beat by adding snares on all 5s and 13ths, which is, you know, pretty standard. So while I'm placing the notes in the correct slots, the digitakt doesn't know that I want them to be snares, so I have to go back and parameter lock the slice value to number 3, which happens to be where my snare is. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Now that I have my snares in place, I can actually live record some other stuff. I'll turn the metronome on and record some kicks. For the hats, I'm gonna have to go back into editing mode as live recording might actually mess things up here as I'm not that skillful. There you go, a pretty basic drum loop. I'm gonna spice it up by adding some ghost notes in between. I can use parameter lock to change the slices, the volume and the decay value as well. Okay, time to lay down the main sample. Sounds okay, but let me play around with the global BPM and the swing. I find these drums to be a bit weak, so I'm gonna reinforce them with some extra samples. Cool. So I really don't like the fact that the piano sample ends so abruptly, so I have to figure out a way to extend it a bit. And the way I'm doing this is by adding a few extra notes, but here's the kicker. I'm automating these extra notes to play back in reverse. This way it sounds like I'm extending them. Also, I'm adding a few more ghost notes. And I'll add a kick for good measure. Time for the bass. Now, what would a boom bap beat be without some upright bass, huh? The only problem is that I can't play to save my life, so I'm gonna live record this note by note. I'll adjust the volume and add some sample reduction. Okay, so we have the crunchy drum bass, the jazzy Rhodes piano, the upright bass. What's missing? Well, a scratch, of course. I'm gonna use the classic scratch R sound. And here's how you emulate a classic vinyl scratch on the digitakt. Go to the LFO page, play around with the LFO shapes, and turn the depth up. Assign the LFO to the tune value, play some more with the shapes, and hear what sounds best to you. Here we go. Now, play your sample to the beat, and in the meantime move the depth or speed knob around. once you're confident with your performance, you can live record it with the automation as well. Now, I only want this scratch to play as a fill. Fortunately, the digitakt has this wonderful feature when you can set conditional triggers, meaning that you can tell it, hey, please play this sound only once every 16 bars, or even better, please play this sound only when I hold the fill button. But this means going into edit mode and setting all those notes to fill, which I'm doing now. And this is the result. Cool, eh? Also, I like to have some delay and reverb on the last scratch sound, so I'm gonna parameter lock those values in. There you go. Also, one last thing, I decided that I want a low pass filter on the bass. Yeah, it sounds better. I think this is good to go. Let's have a little jam. It's now time for my favorite section. Let's vote. Okay, so let's start with the sound. I mean, the machine sounds great. The digitakt has been well known for sounding ridiculously good for years now, probably because it works at 24/48, which is a great thing, but also people point at the reverb, point at the delay, and rightfully so, because they sound absolutely lush. So there's nothing much I can say about that. Also, there was a bit reduction on this machine even before the 1.5 update, but now they've also added sample reduction, which is great for making those kind of like lo-fi, old school type of boom bap hip hop beats, especially when you want to emulate something like the EMU SP1200. That said, I think we could have used with some more creative effects, especially at this price point. This machine is now around 900 euros, which is not cheap. And I don't know, maybe some choruses or some vinyl simulation, or I don't know, something different. Because as it stands, all we have is a bit reduction, sample reduction, overdrive, reverb, and delay, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, it's not bad, but if you think that the Roland SP404 NK2 has got like a trillion effects and it's like 500 euros, you know, I don't know. I could have used a bit more effects, that's all I'm saying. Anyway, it does sound great, so I'll give this machine a solid 9. Let's talk usability. The 1.5 update has revolutionized this machine and it gave it new blood. I believe they could have done it sooner, but I already spoke my piece about it. You can go check it out here if you're interested about it, but yeah, I've already talked about it. Anyway, even with acknowledging the great work they made with the new machines like Slice and WERP, I still have some gripes with this machine. First of all, you can't really like select a slice and place a note with it in the sequencer, just like you would do on the SP404 NK2 or maybe even on the PO33. At least not that I'm aware of. So basically the only ways you have to put slices in the sequencer is either to play it live and then edit it later, or basically you have to put, you know, whatever notes in the sequencer and you have to rely on your sense of rhythm and timing, and then you go in and you change the slice manually step by step using parameter lock. Needless to say, this is quite time consuming. I'm not a big fan of it. Second gripe, you can't really edit slice points, or again, at least not that I'm aware of, so if I'm saying stupid shit, please let me know in the comments below. But basically, when you use the slice machine, all functionalities like start and end points or even slicing points are basically not available. So I'm not sure what the slicing algorithm does. I think it's just a straight division by, you know, like fourths, eighths, 16ths, 30 seconds, blah blah blah. That's kind of a bummer, because basically you can't really sample whatever sound you come across. You have to, you know, kind of prepare it for importing into the digitakt first. Again, that's not good enough for a machine at this price point, in my personal opinion. Also, and this is my third and final gripe, simple utilities like normalize or, you know, crop and all of this stuff are simply not present in the interface, or again, I haven't been able to find them. I know that you can actually, in terms of like normalizing stuff, you can actually, you know, turn the level up and then resample and then turn the level up again, but that's just seems to be too laborious, again, for a machine this price. But hey, at least the digitakt has the make mono function always switched on, right? And yeah, for the ones who don't get the joke, the digitakt doesn't allow stereo samples. So yeah, all in all, for this I have to give usability a score of 7. And mind you, it would have been like 4 or 5 before the 1.5 update. I commend Elektron for doing this, even though again, in my opinion, they were kind of pushed in doing so, but anyway, they did it, so I'm very happy about it. Cool, so all in all, that brings the score to 8. So yeah, that's it for today, and I'm still relatively green on this machine, so if there's anything that I missed or maybe some wrong information that I gave, feel free to call me out in the comments below. Be nice though. Here's some more Willit videos for you. Remember that you can purchase my sample pack at bigumami.com. It's called Big Umami Bombs Volume 1. I've actually used a few of these sounds in this particular beat today. And yeah, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mama. I love you. See you soon, yeah?